Well, everyone, I'm here with Jeremy Kucha, the CEO at Trendhunter. If you were following us virtually, you will have seen his amazing, fascinating, and such an energetic presentation a while back.
Well,
Welcome.
thank you.
Yes, welcome. I have to say, I was sitting in there, and the people around me were laughing, they were taking pictures, they were extremely busy, and I could see that your positive energy was really reflected within the audience as well. So well done.
Nice,
well done
that's
for
the
that.
goal.
Yeah. Well, Jeremy, welcome. I'm very happy to have you here. Before we get into business, I do want to congratulate you for being a new dad.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm a new father as of 12 weeks, so my energy level right now is kind of a little bit like this. But,
12
but I'm all
weeks.
good. Yeah, he's adorable, little Everest.
Can you share his name to us?
Everest.
Everest. Wow. Now, congratulations. I saw the picture. Very cute. Very cute. But let's get down to business because I want to know about Trendhunter. Trendhunter right now is the world's largest and most popular trend community. Yes, it's very, very exciting. It's huge. But what is it that Trendhunter exactly does?
Sure. So long ago, I started Trendhunter as a place for people to share business ideas because I was looking for my own and I was running analytics and innovation at a bank. So I set it up like a market research machine. And when someone lands on Trendhunter, let's say you were looking at a Beyond Beef burger when it was first launched, you would be on this alternative beef maybe, and you click on something else that's a different alternative protein and something else, and that's your journey. That's one journey. But we've had 250 million people come through, and we measure all of their journeys and their choices, and we study how much do they interact. And now that we have about 500,000 ideas on the site, 17 years into this, we've leveraged billions of views to be much more measured and precise about what's trending and what's not. And then as a business, what we do is we pair brands with an advisor on our team, and then that advisor harnesses their human relationship and insight with all this AI and analytics to be about 60 times faster at trend research. So at this point in life, we've done now, I think, 10,000 custom trend reports for 1,100 brands. So by far the largest in that space. And then that's about a third of the business. The other third is the workshops to bring those ideas to life. And the final third would be our future festivals, which are in about 20 cities.
Wow, wow. And if I heard correctly in there, you started Trendhunter when you had a second job as a data analyst for a bank?
Well, yeah, so I was running analytics at Capital One and then eventually innovation, and then I actually ran a business line. I built them a $1.4 billion portfolio, which sounds cool, but to my 10-year-old self who wanted to be an entrepreneur so badly, I felt like I was missing on my prime a time in my life to work any hour on a venture. And so I coded up Trendhunter as a bit of an experiment. It was 2005, so it was before Facebook and before YouTube, and the internet was a little bit more playful, a little bit of a playground where you could teach yourself to code, put something up, and see how people responded. And I'd made it as a community where I thought some Trendhunter in Europe or a Trendhunter in South America will submit some ideas that inspire me. I'll measure, see how the crowd likes it, but that's 17 years ago. So now we've had a chance to really professionalize and evolve it and really do a lot of, I guess, harnessing of what you could do with such a model.
Well, I think as a marketer, I do have to ask you this because back in 2005, we weren't focused with SEO, keywords. How did you actually expand and really expand the outreach of your website to such a wide audience?
Yeah, so the short of it is that Trendhunter is a wild machine at finding insights. So it's much, much better and more predictive at figuring out what's next. So when it would come to things that were hot or interesting, we would beat out every news organization every single time, and they were still stuck in their standards of what they needed to do before they would choose to publish something. So we would be 7 to 10 days faster than a news organization at a story, and then much more powerful, I suppose, at unlocking what the trends were. So it was all word of mouth, and we didn't have the big marketing budget or anything like that, but being ahead of the curve sort of allowed us to propel ourselves forward. And then we've ended up over time with a pretty big community of innovators around the world who sort of come there to share their ideas.
That's pretty impressive.
Well, thank you.
It's extremely, extremely impressive. And like I said, as a marketer, I'm blown away by the fact that you could actually reach so many people beyond and before the actual SEO time. So well done for that. You do touch base on trends, and I do see that we have a question coming in from the audience. But before I jump into that, I just want to touch base on your keynote. because you do talk about post-pandemic, but you don't actually stick within the pandemic times. You go beyond that.
Sure.
And you touch base on something called chaos.
Yeah.
What is that?
Well, first of all, chaos is sort of what I've spent my career working on. My first book was called Exploiting Chaos back in 2008, and then that caused me to get invited by CEOs who were going through chaos. So I ended up in the most chaotic sort of situations where it would be a bankruptcy or a merger or someone struggling to get through it, but a Fortune 500, so you're learning from them. And so I've just spent so much time studying chaos now that when we ended up in a pandemic, it's like I dusted off some of the old frameworks, excited to share some of the learnings. And it's not that we weren't in a chaotic time already with the increasing pace of change, but post-crisis is very interesting. And I think my most insightful takeaway for anyone that really wants to understand it is that you do not go from, you normally are path dependent, we repeat past decisions, then we have a crisis, but you do not go to the new normal, which people think, and you definitely don't go back to the way things were. You go to a new period of chaos. In the 20s, it was the roaring 20s. It was a whole decade. And if you look at the Spanish flu, up to 100 million people died from the Spanish flu. World War II was 15 million. The Spanish flu was the more significant event, and after 2 years of very similar outcome, you end up in a period that's a contrasting period. The Roaring 20s isn't all Leonardo DiCaprio toasting you like this. It's contrast, it's wealth gap, it's supply chain issues. It's on one side, people partying it up and living up their life, and on the other hand, prohibition and the opposite. And basically you fight through everything in order to figure out and resolve the tensions that a consumer's deciding between. On a simple level, individuals need to make up for lost time. I'm not going to go to the local park. I'm going to take my family to Africa. On a company level, I think the pandemic's done. Cool, let's reveal what we were working on for 2 years. And so you end up with very different landscapes. Companies that did well in the pandemic spend their time trying to come up with the products today to keep the momentum going. Companies that did poorly spend 2 years trying to get out of what they're doing and working on new things. And all along, the consumer's mind isn't clear in terms of what they want. So I'm very intrigued by these times. If you watched the keynote, you saw a very small sample of it, but if you want to dive a lot deeper into the chaos work, I have an hour-long keynote, and I believe I put 5 keynotes up on trendhunter.com/secret/Esomar 2022. And if you go there, you could see the a whole hour on some of the trends that happen in pandemics.
That's very interesting. I'm actually going to put that link down on Hopin. So if you're following us online right now, I'll let you know where to find the extended keynote. But let's go to that audience question real quick, because you do talk a lot about trends, and that's actually exactly what Trendhunter does. Trendhunter focuses on utilizing AI, like you mentioned, and research to identify and curate top insights. But what are some of the recurring trends that you see within the research industry right now?
Sure. Well, in the research industry, I think there's 2 trends when we talk purely market research to be sort of careful about. The one is that over the last decade, there's been a big push towards technologies that help you optimize. And the problem is that's such a crux for a marketer, because then it sounds so exciting that it's very, very easy right now for me to optimize my perfect price and tweak my price by 5%. But and I can do that with data and a machine or whatever. But that's the trap, because it can cause you to miss out on the more blank slate reinvention or the bigger picture areas of where the consumer's going. And for that, you really need to get back to basics with some of these ideas of, well, study the megatrend. Where's the consumer going? Asking the question, what if, to stay on topic here at Esomar. But I think that would be my biggest sort of warning when I look at research is not to fall into a trap of optimizing when we know that the consumer mindset has entirely evolved towards a very different space. And if I was to pick a second favorite trend that's happening in market research, I think it would be one that's directly related to the time period we're in of being sort of in this crisis and chaos, which is that there's been a change in who the end customer is, and that it's become the CEO at many different brands. And I think that's a great opportunity for anyone in research, whether you're corporate side or company, which is that every CEO now has a risk. Do I have the right products and services? And every CEO has an opportunity. What products and services could I offer? And so if I looked at who our clients were and who was asking the end question in 2008 or 18 and 19, pre-pandemic. We'd work with the insight team or the research team, maybe a bit of the innovation team, but what's changed is that those teams now have this forced question from their CEO, and they're getting a phone call from someone that didn't used to do that. CEO's got a lot of stuff that they can work on. And so I think that that's the other really big trend in research that's exciting, is that there's now a different C-level support to try and figure out, are we in the right markets?
Yeah, that's extremely interesting. I think that this is a subject that needs to be ongoing. So I will motivate our audience to leave your questions and comments in our Hopin app or even on our social media platforms using the hashtag Esomar75, and you can always reach out to him directly if you go on his website at trendhunter.com. For now, I do need to let you go. We have something amazing happening right now at the Green Diamond stage, but please do submit your questions and go on trendhunter.com. For now.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. Create the future.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. Thank you. Well, I'm going to send you off to the Green Diamond stage. Jeremy, good show for you, everyone. I'm going to send you off to the Green Diamond stage where you're going to be learning about the Best Paper Award nomination, algorithm for local effectiveness, and research means change, and much, much more. Stick with us.